navigating well with Flynn at quarterback. What did you like on that drive, and what do you think kind of happened
I liked a lot of things on that first drive. I wish we could do that more often. You know what I'm saying? I wish we could continue to do that. We always like to start fast like that. That's a big part of it. Took the kick, and I guess what were we, 75 yards away or whatever too. So just I thought Flynn came out very relaxed, just very much confident, knew the game plan. The first series is usually scripted out pretty much, so we've practiced it, in that order. We've walked through it in that order, that for that intent, so that everybody's going to really know what the first couple calls are. And if the defense doesn't change, you pretty much stay with that script. And he just kind of followed it and just did everything right. And the kids had a lot of energy. I think they were excited about playing. And we tried to get to Raji the ball. That was a big part of the game plan. Was trying to get him involved early, and we were doing that. And then he got the touchdown. It was a good run on that. So I just liked our feel to it, our confidence in that right there. Really the first half I thought we played pretty well. A couple series in there we made some mistakes, but I would have taken the first half. We got to work on the second half now. So I told Coach Houston his pregame speech was good. Work on the halftime one now.
What did Alex learn from looking at the film, those interceptions? Two of them look very similar to one another, but what were the conversations?
Yeah, the first one is a inexperienced deal. What happened was, so the receiver runs the wrong route, but he breaks and he's wide open, because it seems like if you run the wrong route, you'll be open at the beginning. It's kind of weird how that happens. And so he runs inside almost like a post, and he should have been running a takeoff, so he should have been over on the sideline. And the corner did sit down, so he was going to be wide open over there. And Alex saw him, and then you throw it, and you're like, oh, there's a free safety standing out there in the middle of the field. You can't throw that ball there because you think he's open. So I think he learned, okay, you can't just see the first part of the play and just chunk the ball out there like that. You got to execute the play. If the guy runs the wrong route, you probably shouldn't throw it to him. The other interception, it really hurt us. It was a big play in the game, I think, was the interception that gave them the ball on the 19-yard line. That's the one that hurts. That's the one that stings a little bit, or a lot. And it wasn't all that blitz, and we missed the protection. Okay, so the guy didn't pick up the blitz, but that's part of life. You got to be able to throw with the blitz. He had time to throw it, and he should have thrown the hot route over the middle. And he tried to throw the ball to Jari, which he's got a good connection with Jari, and they got a good chemistry. And really, the leverage wasn't there. The guy was covered the entire time. And if you're going to do that, you better just throw it away then once you've made that commitment to it. So just, don't just guess, just read the defense. That was really what happened on that one right there. And that was a big one right there. I'm trying to remember the other one right now. I can't remember what it was, but.
There's another deep ball to Spalding as the safety picked it off.
Yeah, it's probably not a very good throw there. Yeah.
What do you feel like happened in the second half? Was it confidence, or did that change anything defensively? Mistakes? What did you guys see there?
No, I don't think they didn't change what they were doing. They don't do that. That's one. I mean, they've got the culture. That thing has been handed down since Coach Moore was there. So they do what they do, and that's why they're probably pretty good. Is they don't get away from what they do. Sometimes it didn't look very good, for them, and yet they just stay with it. I think they got that winning culture right now a little bit, which we had. We've kind of lost that a little bit. We got to get that back. And I think they just made the plays there. We really feel like we're making too many mistakes. We're getting too many penalties. The penalties are killing us. I mean, literally, what do we have, like double-digit penalties? We've had that like every week. And these are penalties like guys just moving before the snap of the ball. We had 2 of those. And, it's hard to put you, what in the world's happening? We've not had that problem. We've had a little problem with delays, and it's a substitution deal, getting the right people in the game. And I guess that's just, we got a lot of new coaches and new people. We're not communicating very well, and we got to do a better job of that, and we practice it like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? We don't practice it differently in the game than we do in practice. We do it exactly the same way. From the time every play we run is signaled in, it's on the system and the whole bit. And we sub people in and out like that too, but we're still making a lot of those mistakes. And then we're getting a lot of holding calls. And, holding calls happen when you get beat usually though. And, Flynn runs for 40 yards. And we get a holding call, again, that's way behind the play. Had nothing to do with the play. Guy got beat at the beginning, and he scrambles, and then the guy reaches out and you grab him and just let him go. You just got to learn not to do that. And then sometimes, I mean, you just get a holding call a little bit, you get beat. But that's killing us right now because the game's hard enough as it is. To be in long yardage because we're in all these penalties is just almost impossible to play well.
How important are these learning moments in a game? Like, I don't know, like in practice, I don't know if you can simulate a guy running the wrong route, but in a game, you can kind of see that and you can maybe learn from them.
You do. I mean, and the guys are trying hard. I mean, it's not an effort deal in any way. They've been great. The locker room is still really strong, I think, in there. And, you know, I just think that you hope you don't repeat mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I mean, everybody in life makes mistakes. The key is don't do it again. I mean, everybody, you know, I had 2 kids. One of them was definitely that kid, put their hand on the stove. Okay, that's hot. Now I don't do that anymore. Until then, they got to find that out. So you hope now don't do that again. And so if you don't make that mistake again, you'll probably be okay. You know what I'm saying? And it's not always the same guy. That's the issue right now. Like I said, if it was just 1 or 2 guys, you just say, okay, you're out. These guys are in. It's not that. It's a typewriter type deal. It's this guy, then it's this guy, then it's this guy. And so we just keep putting them in those situations in practice. We've done more competitive things against our defense this week, even though the scheme defensively is not the same, but because you're tensed up, you're a little more nervous when you're going against the other starter. It's a little more competitive than it is when you're going against the scout team player. Because you're right, you don't have to jump the count to block the scout team guy. He didn't really even know that defense. He's reading it off a card. But when you go against the starters, you know, well, if you're late, you're beat. So now you got to learn to sit in there. So I think all those things, you know, Coach Houston's obviously a Hall of Famer coach, and when he retires, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. There's no question about that. And he's done a lot of great stuff. You look at his record, he's better than he's ever been. The handling and what he's doing, I'm sitting there saying you could write a book on how he's handling this. And truly, I mean, I haven't said this to him, but I'd like to, I guess. So it's easy when it's all going good. You know, sometimes it's just, okay, you stay out of their way, let them go. Right now, it's not that situation, so you really find out what you're made of. And he's really showing that he's truly one of the top ones out there.
Coach, a lot of guys in there want to get going offensively. We haven't seen Marlon Gunn get downhill kind of like we saw last year. Is that
you know, the issue we're having is that you can't just play them all, and you're not. And the game is a little shorter. The game's going faster. The part about the first downs and the clock has sped the game up at least one series. Okay. But the other part of the game they've sped up too, and they were kind of creeping into this. They're always spotting the ball faster now. They're starting the clock faster. Everything is faster. They're shortening the game. So you're not getting as many plays, and you're not moving the ball as well. So you're not keeping the ball, enough times. So you look back, you go, man, I didn't get Raji the ball enough. I never really got him going. But you also want to get Javius going because you know what he can do. So now you're sitting there, you're the third guy. It's hard to get because for long, nobody ever gets lathered up. Nobody ever gets the feel for it. And Raji's been out, and he's a little rusty on some of the reads, and, you know, he'd be the first to say that. And but we need to get him the ball more. We need to get Javius the ball more. You know, we need to get everybody the ball more, but you just can't play everybody. So you always have too many at one position. But then, wow, you look up, everybody's hurt. You know, there was a time Saturday when you're talking about quarterbacks, you're like, well, you know, Raheem, you better be ready over there because, you know, one blitz to the back of the head and you're in the game right now. You know, you thought I was just saying that to get you to practice hard. You could be in there. I told the guy, Ty Little, the scout team guy, do you have any idea anything we're doing? And he looked at me kind of like I had 3 heads. I was like, well, you might want to just get the book out and kind of read over some of this so that, you know, one more guy and you have to come up and you've got to be able to be the third teamer, which is real.
Does the slowdown as far as what the game's kind of going with affect you as a play caller, just with the lack of kind of time you have towards the end of the game and the time that's been shaved off the clock almost?
I don't know how you prepare for it, but I'm very aware of it. You know what I'm saying? I think if anything, I maybe have said a couple of times, we don't need as much, you know, we don't need as much game plan because, you know, the game is a little shorter, but it's not that much shorter. You know what I'm saying? You always have to have stuff ready because you never know. you could have a overtime game. All of a sudden, you better have plays ready for that. You know what I'm saying? And usually when you're doing a play to win the game, you want to run something maybe you hadn't run before. Something they hadn't seen. So, yeah. So I don't know, Joe. That's a good question, but I don't know that it probably hadn't changed it that much. So.
We get calls and comments about why does ECU run up the middle on first down every play, and I looked it up. I think it was like 9 out of 23 first and 10s you ran, but none of them went for over 3 yards. So I guess
the key.
Yeah, is it about how do you put yourself in a better situation on second down?
Yeah, that's amazing what y'all do, take calls like that. We don't really just run it up the middle. Sometimes it cuts up the middle. You know what I'm saying, like that. Sometimes it's an RPO where it depends on what the defense does, And so if it was 9 out of 23 runs, I'm not the best math student, but I know that's less than 50%. We like to stay balanced. We really do. And I think we're probably really, really close to being balanced like that. There was a time last week when I said, because we're charting it, we're checking it. And I said, we probably need to just start throwing it a little bit more on first down because we're not because we want to, but because we're not making it enough yards. And that's the big thing. This week, the biggest change that I've made in the practice plan is we've probably practiced third down less. I'm really big on practicing third down. We probably practice third down more than anybody in the country because I just think you got to be ready for all the blitz and stuff. The game's got so crazy on defense right now. They do so much stuff that you got to be prepared for it. But I said, we're not making enough yards on first down. We need to start practicing first down more. And so we've done that this week, trying to get just better at staying out of the third line. It's like, just skip third down a little bit more and make first downs on, 1 or 2 downs like that. So, so I don't know.
Coach, we asked Coach Houston yesterday about the running game specifically, and someone else asked about wide receivers getting open.
Yeah. And
both times he responded with, it's a cumulative thing. It's not just one set of guys. It's the whole offense is just not.
Yeah, offense is 2 things. Offense is about creating space. Okay, defense is about trying to constrict space. They want to get it, all down in a small place. And offensively, you want to create space. That's how you get big plays, and that's how you move the ball. And then it's all about rhythm, okay? It's all about rhythm. So like the first drive, you come out, you start making some yards, and it's just like everybody starts playing faster, and you get rhythm. And then, you've run the ball up the middle, and then they overplay the play in the middle, and the quarterback pulls the ball, and he throws the ball out in the flat, or he runs with the ball, or it's play action, and that's how you get things going. And that's the thing, just getting some rhythm and creating some space. So space, we got to block them a little bit better. Okay, it is part of that. The offensive line's got to move them a little bit more. Space is also by the wide receivers getting down the field and separating from the guy and getting open more. It's the ultimate team game. There was a play yesterday in practice that proved it, where a receiver is supposed to run a wheel route, and obviously he was supposed to go and run outside the guy trying to cover him, and you hope the guy jumps on the route and he comes up. If not, you widen him. Another route's coming. Well, he decided to go inside because the guy outplayed him outside, thinking, well, I'll go inside, I'll get open, but you're still not open on that. Now what you did was you constricted the other guy's space, and he's not as open. Mason was the quarterback, so Mason saw it and threw the ball behind the receiver because he said, well, if I throw it out in front of him, the other guy's going to blow him up. So I threw it behind him, hope he could catch it. Well, he flipped his hips and he went to make it. I said, so everybody made everybody's job harder. By you not running the route correctly and creating that space, you made the quarterback throw the ball more behind the guy. Now he's got to make a tougher catch. So it's all like that. And then, of course, if you're protected and you can nice throwing lane, it's much easier to throw it than it is if you got some guy. So everybody depends on everybody, and that's the thing. A lot of times you can just really, really stink in this thing, and then all of a sudden you can get really good. I know y'all get a lot of bad calls, okay, so I stay away from all that. I would have no idea because nobody ever says anything to my face. I didn't know I was that vicious. I guess they're afraid. But I get a lot of things. I've got several emails from some really good alums, and they're like, you're closer than you think, and all these little diagrams and stuff, and I really appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I actually respond to those things. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. And this person may know football, and they may not know it, if it's stuffed or pumped with air. I don't know what they know. But they're saying, a lot of times you're really closer to knocking that wall down than you think. Don't quit chopping, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we're doing, you know what I'm saying? Life's really pretty good. I mean, it is a game. Okay, I know it's a real serious game. It's put my kids, you know, through school. It's, you know, done everything for me. But, you know, we're above ground. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of guys. I've had a lot of bad things happen. Like Jimmy Lindsay's a coach at LSU that played for me. I gave him his first job. He's dying of cancer right now. And he was at the prime of his life, and had just gotten an SEC job, and life couldn't have been better last time I saw him. You know, there's some other guys. Billy Dunn's one of our best alums and supporters. God, he's had an awful year with all these surgeries and all this stuff. Just breaks your heart. Yet he's texting positive things. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm that good a person. I don't know if I'm that strong. If I was hurting like that, I don't know if I'd give a rat's ass how the Pirates are doing. You know what I'm saying? I'd just be wanting to get well again. So there's so many things like that. Coach constantly talks to these kids about, you know, an attitude of gratitude. We got it so friggin' good. We got it great in this country. I don't even know how people bitch about it. They ought to go to one of these other countries, you know what I'm saying? Because there's some rough stuff over there, you know what I'm saying? So life's good, you know what I'm saying? We live in the best state and the best country and the damn best planet in the world. So overall, things are pretty good. Now, we'd like to win some more football games. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would be a lot better off. So life's great. Football sucks right now, but okay, but football can change. Football can change. All right, that's my rant. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
All right.